on Drury Lane.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. And oh, what a beautiful day. Oh, it was another weekend morning back in the kitchen on Drury Lane. And oh, it was time to make the muffins. But usually, fast asleep am I from making muffins all night long. But this morning, I felt so alive and filled with joy. I'm so excited because recently I got great news. So much so that I feel like shouting. I'm shouting for joy. Why, can you believe it? Can you believe it? The Schenectady County Human Rights Commission Martin Luther King Coalition was able to collect enough signatures to rename sections of Albany Street Martin Luther King Jr. Way. Hooray! They did it! It all started with a kickoff petition meeting, and through hard work from countless volunteers and individuals, they were able to bring pride and togetherness and belongingness to the city of Schenectady. Now that's something to shout about. This reminds me of another story, another victorious story that also involved shouting and also relied on great faith and trust. Now, have you ever heard the story of Jericho? Yes, Jericho. But before we do that, before we get to this wonderful ancient story, let's check on the muffins. Ah, there they are. Do you think that they're cooking well or almost done? Well, they look like they're almost done. Oh, yes. It seems like. Oh, well, I think they need just a few more minutes to bake a little bit longer. But I think we have just enough time to tell about the story of Jericho. The story of Jericho. The people of Israel had just crossed over the Jordan River into the land of Canaan. This was the land of milk and honey that God had promised to Abraham over 500 years earlier. After spending 40 difficult years wandering in the desert of Sinai, the people of Israel were now on the eastern banks of the Jordan. Their challenge was, take the land of Canaan, the promised land. However, the first obstacle was the city of Jericho, an unconquerable walled city. Excavations there reveal that its fortifications featured a stone wall 11 feet high and 14 feet wide. At its top was a smooth stone slope, angling upward at 35 degrees for even 35 feet, where it joined massive stone walls that towered even higher. it was virtually impregnable. In ancient warfares, some cities were even taken by assault or surrounded, and the people starved. Its invaders might try to weaken the walls that were made of stone with fire, or by tunneling underneath, or they might simply heap up a mountain of earth to serve as a ramp. Each of these methods of assault took weeks or months, and the attacking force usually suffered heavy losses. However, the strategy to conquer the city of Jericho was unique in two ways. First, the strategy was laid out by God himself. And second, the strategy was a seemingly foolish plan. God simply told Joshua to have the people to march silently around Jericho for 6 days, and then on the 7th circle around the city to shout. Though it seemed foolish, Joshua followed God's instructions to the letter. When the people did finally shout, the massive walls came tumbling down instantly, and Israel won an easy victory. In fact, God had given the city of Jericho to them in advance, before they even began to march around the walls. It was when the people of God, by faith, followed the commands of God, that the walls of Jericho came tumbling down. And so, the people in Schenectady now have a reason to walk through the streets and shout as well. Portions of Albany Street are finally now able to be called Martin Luther King Jr. Way. But let's take some time to look back at some of the efforts of the Schenectady County Human Rights Commission, Martin Luther King Coalition, and their groundbreaking work to bring this to fruition. Come along, let's take a look.
I'm originally from New York City, and if you go to my high school in Queens, you will see a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. mural at the high school as you enter the high school. That was done by me. I actually painted that mural. And every year I think back on this. I think back on this because I learned a lot from just painting that mural. Also, I had to write an essay. Remember, I was in 11th grade, 1988. That's a long time ago, but no, not like, John Lewis, who was actually walking with Dr. King. And so, but my experience with this was that I learned so much as a high school kid. And every time I think back, I think of the small way that I was able to contribute to the legacy in the smallest way possible to the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King.
I feel like when I walk the downtown streets here that this community is on the rise. But I'm also acutely aware that there are segments of our community who don't feel like they're part of that resurgence. And I come from Buffalo, and my parents, children of immigrants themselves, started life in a trailer, and we didn't have a lot. But I also saw what education can do for people, how it can lift you up. So my father got out of the trailer park because he went to school at night while he was working at the steel plant. Okay, I saw the American dream in my own family. And so I've been pulled to public service growing up in that family, a family with parents who really instilled in me at a phenomenally young age, really the words of Martin Luther King. I was actually 10 years old when he was assassinated. I had already done a book report on his life the year before as a 4th grader because my parents wanted to make sure I knew all about Martin. In my lily white little community, I was the only 4th grader who knew who Martin Luther King was. And a tough time in our community, the 60s, and my parents were part of a program called HOME, Housing Opportunities Made Equal. And they used to invite members, people from the community in the city of Buffalo that had barriers to them living in communities like my own. And I recently had a priest tell me that my mother was spit upon as she left church one day by someone who said she was, I'll say it delicately, an African-American lover. Not quite so nice. So I'm sort of a product in my own way of seeing in my own community what hatred looks like. It looks like, what it feels like, in a sense. And perhaps that's one of the reasons I answered the call to public service, is that I knew the story of Martin Luther King, and I knew my parents' advocacy on behalf of others, and felt that each of us is called to make a difference in the lives of others in our own ways. We all have different ways to serve. And so it is with a great point of pride that I'm able to talk about what he's done and where we're going, and how we plan to make sure that every child who is born in a place like Schenectady, regardless of the zip code, has that shot at the American dream. And truly, I was so impressed with the title of this program, and which you want to discuss, and that's Empower, Educate, and Embrace. And I'll just mention the educate part, because you're going to hear from some wonderful people. And I've gotten to know our Schenectady Community College president on many occasions. Dr. Muno, it's been a pleasure to serve with you in many capacities, and all of you, the community leaders who are part of the MLK Commission, but also the Human Rights Commission, which has been in existence since 1965. But we all know the one thing that's the great equalizer in life is a good education. So that is why the governor's latest State of the State rollout, which some criticized because he wouldn't give it to a bunch of politicians down the road in Albany, he actually had the audacity to say, I'm taking it out to the people. And I personally admire it. I think if I'm a person out here, I'm happy that I'm a governor who's coming out to me with that message, because we're all making a difference. So let's just, I know I'm only got a couple minutes, but I also know we have a governor who says we have to put our money where our mouths are. We can't just say, oh yeah, education's good for everybody, let's just have that happen. We have to invest real money into programs like early childhood education. Because a lot of little babies growing up don't have a mom and a dad sitting home reading books all day, okay? There's a lot of kids whose parents are not living that dream. Mom or dad might be needing some rehab services because of addiction. They may be having to work 2 or 3 jobs because, heaven forbid, our minimum wage is too low. Thank God we have a governor who's now fixing that. Or dad may have found himself in the criminal justice system. So let's deal with the reality. There's a lot of children who would benefit from a program that grabs them as a 3-year-old or grabs them as a 4-year-old, gets them in a nurturing, wraparound situation, and gives them that equal shot that a kid in another zip code in the suburb somewhere might have a lot easier. So that's where we start. We start with the youngest of us. But then we also have to make sure that we have programs for young people to be able to reach for the stars, but also those who fall between the cracks. We need serious criminal justice reform. And our government, we are a good people. We are a forgiving people. If a 16-year-old does something stupid and lands himself in jail, why is he treated like an adult with a mark on his career and his record for the rest of his life, which will keep him from ever getting another job? So the governor's going to go at it again. Again, we need your help to say, let's be sensible. We don't need our prisons filled with young men of color. We need our classrooms filled with young men of color. So we need the help. We need the legislature to change this. And this is not something I'm real proud of. I don't like to be lumped with North Carolina or anything, okay? There are only 2 states in the nation where they treat 16 and 17-year-olds as adults. North Carolina and the great state of New York, okay? Okay. Point of embarrassment for me. The governor says that's got to end. And we have to get our Senate, our Assembly's with us. We have to get our Senate to realize the folly of that status of being lumped in there with North Carolina. I'm sorry, that's nothing, I can't get over that one. So, we have our work cut out for us. We have our work cut out. But you have a governor who says every person who comes to this state, regardless of where your parents came from. And I'm talking about the dreamers. I'm talking about kids who did not choose to come to this country, but they're here and they're ours and they're our kids. They deserve that same shot at college education as well. So we're going to be fighting for the DREAM Act. We're going to be also taking care of people as the commission does. When you get those complaints about discrimination, if someone's treated differently because of where they came from or the color of their skin, we are going to continue to take that very seriously, whether it's housing violations and discrimination there, employment discrimination. There's so many different places where in this day and age, and I'm sorry, Dr. King will be so disappointed to know this is still going on all these years after his death. That's why the fight continues. And this is something I thought our president spoke about so beautifully the other night. He touched my soul with his words. He talked about how we need to be understanding each other and walking a mile really in each other's shoes. And so people who look like me have to realize that the civil rights era did not end in the 1960s with the passage of laws, which were necessary. But it's also how you change your heart and your attitudes and your respect for each other. And I think that's where we still have work to do. And that's what the president said. But he also asked people of color to understand the frustration of the white guy who's seeing his job being replaced by a robot. Okay, that happens in all of our communities. So the more we do that, the more we live the life, in the words of Dr. King, to try and understand each other, boy, you can't stop us then. Then we have that empathy for each other, regardless of what we look like, where we live, where we worship. And that, to me, would be living Dr. King's dream.
30 years. And I would like to introduce our next speaker, who's been the face of the city of Schenectady for many years. And he will deliver a few words, I believe, that should transform our city. And he will give a share of he will give a little share of his part that he can make in a contribution to the city. So I give you the Honorable Mayor, Gary McCarthy.
Thank you, Philip. Dr. Perry, I want to formally welcome you here to the city of Schenectady. Again, thank you for joining us today. You know, it's been alluded to, you know, Dr. King, Reverend King's influence was really global. He did so much to transform the message and improve the quality of life for so many people. Helped here in Schenectady, and Reverend Frazier played that role locally as a driving force and inspiration to make us stronger, to make us better. Randy Magoo alluded to some of the dialogue and things that are happening at the national level. Some of those messages are not things that bring us together. They're not things that unite us. And we have to look for ways to rise above that, so that, again, you look for the strength in the individuals and our collective force that makes life better. Sometimes in government we can create barriers and problems that maybe we shouldn't, and we really want Schenectady to be set apart, where we are setting an example and where we try to do things that make things better. So I have a traditional proclamation, but I've also issued an executive order signed today. I'll just quickly read it. On behalf of the City of Schenectady, I want to formally recognize the 30th anniversary of the Martin Luther King Coalition, which was established by the late Reverend Eloise Frazier to honor the legacy left by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in order to further commemorate the legacy of Dr. King. A portion of Albany Street will now be named Martin Luther King Jr. Way. The City of Schenectady population and already houses several religious and community agencies. These initiatives are clearly within the goals and objectives of Dr. King, making Albany Street the perfect place to honor his legacy. Now, by the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Schenectady, I hereby declare Albany Street between Brandywine Avenue and Peter Avenue with the ceremony named Martin Luther King. That's what we
called the coalition of. We've been in a battle. Right. And now, as God says, God got our back. God got our back. Dr. King is out of the 2-block radius. He's beyond. He is living in Schenectady, permanent. Not a school, permanent. This is our victory today. We empower you to get involved, educate yourself on the issues, and embrace the dream. This is all about for our kids. This is about our kids. I've been crying. I've been getting hated on because we want to rename Dr. King. And being hated on for Dr. King, in 2017, we are in difficult times now as Trump becomes president. And we must get involved. We must stand up for equal rights, human rights, civil rights, Black Lives Matter, kids' lives matter. And we must be in the spirit of love and unity to show a difference and make a difference. And I'm going to use what Dr. Perry said last night. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make a difference. We are here to make a difference in this community, to hold our community up accountable and responsible in the spirit of love, in the spirit of unity. And this is what celebrates today. We empower you, we educate you, and we embrace the dream. Dr. King lives on. That's all I have to say.
Out of neighbor and say, I feel better. Don't be scared of them. Look at somebody in their eyes and say, I feel better. Well, I felt that in the room. Somebody said, I felt goosebumps when you said that. Amen. It's all right. I feel recharging here. And for we know that God is on our side. Sometimes you think friends may let you down. Come on, Lady Hamilton. Sometimes family let you down. Sometimes you might even think your job might let you down. But I know someone. The Bible tells us He will never leave us nor forsake us. Even in any situation, the hardest of times, the best of times, God is on your side. God bless you.
Well, welcome back. I'm still trying to bake the muffins. But finally, I think we're finished. I hope you enjoyed our show today. If you would like to make an order or donate muffins to charity, then please go to the website listed below. With every muffin order, we donate muffins to the charity of your choice. I call it giving your dough to charity. I also encourage you to donate directly to the featured charity today by going directly to our website and getting their information. Thank you very much for watching, and keep on dancing through life by giving to others through love. Let me finish baking these muffins, and see you next time.